was one member of the Republican conference. These are supposed to be, confidential off-the-record calls among colleagues, but some of you guys listen in, and I make a pleading at the beginning of every call that you wouldn't do that and wouldn't characterize it, but whoever the leak is, whatever. Beth Van Dyne was quoted. Beth is a dear friend. We've had lots of conversations about this. She was not complaining. It was not dissonance, Chad.
Shutdown as MAGA Mike goes up there and holds disastrous press conference every morning. You're seeing MAGA Republicans in their conference saying things like, I think this is just getting tired and old, and like, can y'all actually come up with a plan? And our constituents really want their health care, believe it or not, despite all the talking points that MAGA Mike's up there saying every day. And then the optics is what the MAGA Republicans are talking about. I care more about what's happening than just the optics, because when they complain about the optics, they seem to suggest that this would be okay if there wasn't a government shutdown. I think it's never okay under any circumstance. But you've got MAGA Republican Senator Tom Tillis, who claims he's not really a MAGA Republican. He goes, I'm a more moderate one, although his voting record suggests very different things depending on how he votes. Well, he said that Trump wanting to reach a settlement with himself and literally rob our treasury of $230 million because Trump claims the 2020 election was rigged, and Trump is upset that he was investigated by the feds. Trump wants the taxpayers to pay Trump $230 million for, quote, his legal bills and for his pain and suffering. And Senator Tom Tillis says, well, that's a little bit of a bridge too far. I don't like the optics of Trump paying himself $230 million from his own Justice Department of taxpayer dollars during the shutdown. I'll show you what MAGA Mike said on that in just a moment. But MAGA Mike held one of those press conferences earlier in the morning. It was a total disaster. And MAGA Mike declares mission accomplished on healthcare, that the Republicans have saved Medicaid, strengthened healthcare, and they should be thanked, is what he basically says. Here, play this clip.
We put a few on the handy chart over here. But just think of what's been accomplished in the last 9.5 months. A couple of things listed here. We passed the historic working families tax cut, one of the most landmark pieces of legislation ever passed by the U.S. Congress for the benefit of the American people. We slashed taxes for hardworking Americans, geared for the lower and middle class earners who needed that assistance. We cut hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud, waste, and abuse from government. We solved the border crisis. We are working now to solve the crime crisis in major cities around America. We strengthened Medicaid. We improved healthcare access, and we lowered premiums with our legislation.
I mean, is who believes this stuff? I think it's extra.
That's so cat, bro. You didn't lessen anything. You didn't upgrade anything. Y'all Republicans are making it worse. Y'all making everything worse for everybody in the U.S. I don't get it. Bro. Healthcare. Crazy. Healthcare should be free, first of all. It shouldn't be no lower. It should be completely free skis. What else? You're trying to take away food stamps. What? People are already struggling that don't got food stamps. They're just having a normal job. That's insane. It blows my mind. Blows my fucking mind every day. Every time I get on social media, it's something new with these people, bro. It's crazy.
Offensive when he goes and does that. So then he's asked about the $230 million payment that Trump wants to make to himself to settle the case on behalf of taxpayers for Trump's own pain and suffering. And MAGA Mike says, I don't know, I've never heard of that before. Here, play this clip.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Last question. Yes, ma'am. Second row, right. Yes.
How comfortable are you with the president apparently seeking $230 million from the Department of Justice?
I don't know the details about that. I've just read it. I didn't talk with him about that. I know that he believes he's owed that reimbursement. What I heard yesterday was if he receives it, he was going to consider giving it to charity. I mean, he doesn't need those.
Oh yeah, he's going to give it to charity. I've never heard about it, but I heard he's going to give it to charity. These are the worst. They're like not even good liars. They're bad liars. And then this is what I was talking about earlier with the MAGA Republican Congress members during this private conference call. Some of the information leaked. For example, Congresswoman Van Dyne, she said, what are you doing? Like you're embarrassing, and all our constituents, MAGA Mike, think that like you're embarrassing us every day. Like, can you stop this? And MAGA Mike's like, that's not what she said. And the reporters apparently were on the call, so they know what was said. But just a liar. Here, play this clip. Okay. It's ridiculous. Let's bring in Democratic Congress member Joe Neguse from Colorado. Congressman, How are you? He does that every day. I think the American people are, it would be parody. Like that would truly be, it looks like an SNL person playing them. And perhaps it would be funny if Americans weren't suffering, but I don't even know what I'm watching. I show this stuff every day and I'm like, what? It gets weirder every day.
Yeah, it's theater of the absurd. I mean, first, it's great to be with you, Ben, but yeah, complete theater of the absurd. I don't understand why the Speaker of the House continues to have these press conferences, and it would be, hilarious, farcical, if not so painful for the country. I mean, the reality is there's essentially nothing that Donald Trump can do that Speaker Johnson won't defend. And I say this as somebody who has served in the Congress, was in the Congress when Kevin McCarthy was Speaker. I never thought I would say this, but I think Speaker Johnson is the weakest speaker in certainly the modern history of our country. I mean, essentially he and
I've been saying this. I've been saying he's the weakest, bro. Like, and it doesn't matter what Donald Trump says, any Republican says, he just go with it. He doesn't. It's like he doesn't have his own thinking. He doesn't have his own brain. He doesn't think for himself. He just goes based off what he's being told, or what he just sees online about what the hell Donald Trump got going on. He just agrees with it. He don't even think about what the hell he's saying sometimes, bro. It's insane to me. I'm not biased. I'm not just hating. You know what I'm saying? But like, if they did good shit for our country, if they had good opinions on stuff, I would damn sure agree on it. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, they haven't came across that yet, so I don't know.
his caucus work for Donald Trump. Sycophants, in terms of their support for him, capitulating to him at every turn. And I just find it so outlandish, the way that they've debased the Article 1 branch of our government, the United States Congress, which is supposed to be an independent, co-equal branch of our government, and of course not functioning in that way today. So it's shameful, just shameful. By the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but he offers these clever, what he thinks are clever rejoinders when he was talking about this corrupt effort that the president is now apparently engaged in to give himself $250 million of taxpayer money. Speaker Johnson called it a reimbursement. It is not a reimbursement. It is the definition of self-dealing. I mean, essentially, Donald Trump is attempting a shakedown of his own government, of our government. And I can't believe, I shouldn't be surprised, but can't believe that there aren't more Republicans who are willing to call that for what it is.
When Congress was in session, we'd often play the clips of you having serious debates. And you're able to do that on the Rules Committee with the MAGA Republican Congress members, and you'd use logic. And for a short period of time, they would respond to you, and you would get back and forth. And it seemed that was the democratic process. Even though you often exposed what they were doing, great. I mean, that's they should want that, and they should come with better info. Then, as we talked about the disastrous budget bill, their plan was basically, we're not going to even debate. We'll show up, but we're not going to talk to Nagus anymore when he wants to have. And then you would point that out. You would say they don't even want to answer. And now they've taken that to a whole new level where they don't even want to look at you, and they don't want to look at the Democrats. I've just been following the progression where now, forget negotiation, they're not talking. They think that they have no obligation to even be in the same room. And that's, to me, is one of the things about this shutdown that needs more attention, is that one side, the MAGA Republican Congress members, are not even there and are refusing to say words, yet alone even have a negotiation. So I don't even know how we get out of it, because fundamentally that's not our system. That's not what our system is. The parties talk, and their system is they go to Mar-a-Lago or what's now Club Rose Garden and just have Donald Trump say weird things in their presence. It's not our system. I think that's what's missing from this discussion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Ben. And by the way, you've described the evolution so well. I mean, you go back 6 months ago, as you said, they were scheduling these hearings on the budget bill, for example, in the dead of night. We at least had an opportunity to be able to question these witnesses, my colleagues on the Rules Committee, just by way of example, and through supposition and logic, and be able to test their arguments and have at least a debate on the merits. They then quickly realized that was no longer inuring to their benefit, I suppose, because when the benefit of sunlight in terms of their exposing their arguments, clearly the American people would understand that these policies that they're pursuing were not being pursued for their benefit, but for the benefit of billionaires and their donors and the like. So they stopped engaging in debate at all. And as you said, we would have these hearings where literally they would just sit there and not talk. And now they've taken that to its logical conclusion, which is a 5-week paid vacation. Republicans literally just refusing to reopen the House. The Speaker unilaterally deciding that the House will not function, that there will be no debate, no committee hearings, no legislative markups, nothing. It is, again, a debasement of our Constitution that Republicans have decided to do this. By the way, while families go hungry, while furloughed workers across Colorado and across the United States, are going without pay, federal workers who are being forced to work without pay. It's outlandish. And it's, of course, not surprising that Steve Bannon, allegedly, I guess a week or two ago, described the Congress as the Duma, right? I mean, akin to essentially the Russian parliament, capitulating to the president at every turn. One would be hard-pressed to disagree with that assessment. The Republicans, again, I just think are disrespecting Article 1 of our Constitution, and it should offend every American. It certainly offends me.
Man, that Constitution crap don't mean shit, man. I always said that, man. That Constitution, I feel like whoever made the Constitution, it's all full of crap. The history that they try to teach us in class is all full of crap, bro. For us citizens, we have to go by it, but for the higher up people, I'm gonna just say they don't have to go by it. Trump could just get away with everything. It doesn't make any sense to me, man. If it makes sense to y'all, please let me Please let me know down in the comment section, and we can have a discussion. Nice, chill discussion. But other than that, man, I don't know. I just don't know where this country's going, man. I'm ready to take off to another country at this point. It don't matter if we march. Trump is still he probably just gonna make everything worse. Like we got to use violence or something. What do we have to do to stop this man from what he's doing? Not only him, just the whole Republican Party. It's crazy.
And so one of the scams that Donald Trump pulls to try to dangle money, but to me, it's just part of this Ponzi scheme, is he says he's brought in all of this money. He says he brought in 17 trillion. He says it's already there. He talks about having money on tariff shelves, whatever the hell that means. And he's brought in 17 trillion. He says he's going to bring in another 3 trillion. He goes, so we'll have 20 trillion that's been brought in. And then during this bizarre press conference he had yesterday in the Oval Office with business leaders there, I might mention, like corporate leaders who know that he's lying, who I think have a deeper responsibility as well than to shake their head when they see this crap. But he's out there saying, well, they asked, well, how are you going to bail? What are you going to do with the farmers and people who can't afford their rent right now and manufacturing, construction? It's all going bad. So what are you going to do? And here's what he says. He talks about, look, I brought in 650 billion from the EU, 550 billion. So we're good. Here, just listen to what he says here. Then I have a question for you on it. Let's play it.
Rich country again. We'll start paying off debt. We'll do a lot of things. We'll probably make a distribution out of some of the tariff money. I think we're going to make a distribution over the next fairly short period of time to the people, because we took in so much money from the tariffs. Just European Union, $650 billion. Japan, $550 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. That's even a lot of money for you guys, right? That's not bad, right? But
strength training now at a new level. Gym Monster 2 is an all-in-one design.
It deeply troubles me that the business leaders are also laughing at that, because we have not brought in $650 billion from the EU, $550 billion from Japan, $350 billion from South Korea. We've actually brought in $0 from those places. That lie to me is so dangerous and so nefarious, as they saying we don't have money to extend the Affordable Care Act. We don't have money to provide special needs services. Congressman, I think this is a deeper fraud Ponzi scheme taking place that Trump and Republicans are perpetrating. What do you think?
I think fraud is the right word, and you articulated this well. First and foremost, though, I just have to say, because in some respects we've become almost desensitized to this ludicrous stream of consciousness that you just heard. I mean, there's no cogent arguments made by the president. He's just literally, grabbing numbers out of thin air and tossing them out. And as you said, perhaps the most depressing, confounding part of that clip that you showed are the business leaders, these titans of industry standing, behind him, capitulating again at every turn and, applauding him as he's, again, making no sense and offering no cogent arguments. It just is a sad state of affairs for our country. But yes, your core point, clearly it's a fraud. It's a supposed trillions of dollars that I think he knows full well that that's not the case. And that he has not somehow generated trillions of dollars for the Treasury. Far from it. And meanwhile, by the way, he's adopting policies that could hardly be described as America First. Most recently, this bailout for Argentina, billions of dollars. Now an announcement by the Agriculture Department that they're going to engage in mass importation of beef from Argentina, devastating the ranchers that I represent in Western Colorado and countless other ranchers across the United States. It's just very distasteful and disgraceful in my view. I will say this, this is kind of a sidebar, but it's worth noting for all of the folks who are tuning in and watching. Every single person who's watching ought to ask a very simple question of your member of Congress. And by the way, this extends across party lines, but in particular for Republicans. On this week 5 of their paid vacation, are they having a town hall? Where is your member of Congress? We're having a town hall tonight in Grand County, a part of my district that actually voted for Donald Trump. But it's important for me to be present and to be engaged and be on the ground listening to my constituents, irrespective of who they voted for. So that's how I'm spending my time. Where is your member of Congress? I can promise you, I can count on one hand the number of Republican members of Congress who have deigned to even show up in their communities for town halls in the last 5 weeks. It's disgraceful. They are on a paid vacation, and voters ought to hold them accountable for it.
Congressman DeGoose, thanks so much for joining us.
All right, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Midas Touch. Shout out to the Midas Touch. They always put on a great video for us to keep us updated every single day, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this down in the comment section. There's a lot going on. Yeah. I love y'all. Peace and love, baby. We out.